Warning! You're watching Dr. Todd Lee TV, where theoretically you could learn a bunch of cool shit. Conclusion to the DHB experiment. So the final results, I'm going to make this really simple because all the details were not important in the end. What really matters is the final results. So the good is that the transcription of DHB is 200 to 400% that of testosterone, whereas Trenbolone is 500 to 700% that of testosterone. Masteron is about 80 to 120. So Masteron is about as strong as testosterone. DHB is about 2 to 4 times stronger than testosterone. And Tren is about 5 to 7 times stronger than testosterone. Primo is 60 to 80% as strong as testosterone. So on top of Primo being an AI, it's also weaker than Masteron for growing muscle. This is a fact. And all the idiots out there have Masteron and Primo confused. They say Masteron's the AI and Masteron's weaker, and they're fucking stupid and wrong. There is only one right way, and it's the way that I told you. Masteron is the perfect anabolic because it is not an AI. Now, the boldenone superfamily are all basically AIs. So EQ is a very strong AI. Primo is a strong AI. The determinate purpose of this experiment was to determine if DHB is in fact an AI or is it not an AI and it's a good replacement for Masteron in this Masteron shortage. So I ran the experiment for 60 days. So I started at 0, and after 30 days of being at 10 milligrams a day, my estradiol dropped from a 75 to a 55. Now, I also lost fat at that amount of time. And when you lose fat, you're going to lose aromatase. Aromatase, the enzyme is located in the fat. So as you lose fat, you're going to lose aromatase, which means your estrogen is going to go down just from losing fat. The good news is this, that after the first checkpoint of 30 days, I increased the dose immediately. I did a loading dose of 100 milligrams a day for 3 days and then pulled back to 30. So I was immediately at steady state concentration of 30, and I stayed at 30 for a full month. And at the end of that month, my estradiol was 58. So at 10 DHB, it was 55. At 100 DHB, it was 58. DHB did not lower my estrogen. Therefore, DHB is not an AI. I had even double checked something. I ran EQ for 3 days in the middle and 30 EQ for 3 days, which is basically steady state of 10 EQ, knocked my estradiol from that 55 down to 38. So just to test the waters, that 10 EQ drops 55 to 38, but tripling DHB to 30 did not drop. So there's no way, shape, or form that one could conclude from this data. Now it's N equals 1, it's just me, but with mechanistic data, there's no room for interpretation. It's cut and dry. Now we have outcome data. It's N equals 1 outcome data, but I'm 100% convinced that yes, EQ is a very strong AI and DHB is not an AI. And there's never a reason to use Primo because DHB is basically 4 to 7 times stronger than Primo at a milligram per milligram basis for growing muscle. So considering it's half the price and it's 4 to 7 times stronger, that means Primo is 8 to 14 times the price of equivalent amount of anabolic effect from DHB, and it's also an AI. So if you want an AI, use EQ, since a quarter of the EQ converts to DHB anyway. That's what DHB is dihydroboldenone. It's the 5-alpha reduced form of boldenone. Primo is DHB with a 1-methyl group added. It's a methyl group added to carbon 1, and that does nothing for it, but basically makes it an AI, and it also makes it slightly liver toxic. Here's the bad, that going from 0 to 10 DHB increased my GGT, which is the marker for liver damage. All of you guys who think AST and ALT are liver enzymes, you're wrong. You learned that from stupid ass doctors. If your doctor's so fucking stupid that he thinks AST and ALT are liver enzymes, you should fire him and hire me. He doesn't know what he's doing. I do. GGT is how you measure liver damage in our population. And it went from a 24 to a 37, still within normal range. I was still healthy. But when I went from 10 to 30, it jumped up to 86, which is not acceptable. Now, could I have been doing things to make that less extreme? I could have been doing TUDCA. I could have been taking NAC. I could have been doing liposomal glutathione. I could have been injecting glutathione. I could have been getting IV glutathione. I did nothing to protect my liver. And I was also on Tren. Now, according to Nova, the Tren amplifies the liver toxic effects of DHB exponentially. So that Tren plus DHB is the world's greatest combination for building muscle, but it's also the world's worst combination for your liver. So my take-home points: if you're going to run DHB, don't mix it with Tren. So you don't cut with DHB, you cut with Tren. If you don't use Tren in the off season because it speeds up your metabolism, it might make it hard to sleep, etc. So in the off season, you're better off running DHB instead of Tren. And you could probably get away with 20 milligrams of DHB per day. You might be able to get away with 30 if you're doing all the liver precautions possible. Hell, who knows? Maybe you could even get away with 40, although most experts say that the upper limit, like Broderick Chavez is probably the world's expert on DHB. He said it's 3 times more powerful of an anabolic. Nova says it's between 2 to 4 times the transcriptional activity. The average of 2 and 4 is 3, so it aligned with what Broderick says. And he also said the only thing stronger than DHB is Tren, also aligned with the transcriptional activity. So Broderick's on point with that. What I would do is run 10 DHB. If you're safe, go up to 20. If you're safe, start using liver precaution stuff like IV glutathione, TUDCA, NAC, run it up to 30 possibly. If you still have good GGT, then you might even be able to handle 40, although I don't know anybody who endorses more than 30 milligrams of DHB a day. That's 200 a week. 200 a week is pretty much the upper limit. Remember, 200 a week of DHB is equivalent to 400 to 800 of Testosterone. So it's extremely strong. Adding just 200 DHB in would be like adding an average of a 600 Masteron. Remember, test converts into DHT, it converts into estrogen, it increases aldosterone. Test is the dirtiest drug possible for an anabolic steroid. That's why you run it as a TRT base. You don't raise it above your TRT levels. Once your DHT is capped out or your estrogen's capped out, you don't keep adding test. You don't add things to control DHT or estrogen. You lower your test to where you can handle the DHT and the estrogen, and you just rely on growth hormone and Masteron to grow. But if you've got horrible cholesterol, DHB is a better first option. If you've got a bad liver, Masteron's a better first option. In the cases where you don't care about DHT because you're already bald, then I could see you running a lot of test and EQ, because the EQ is going to convert to DHB, and the DHB you get from EQ doesn't seem to trash the liver the same. The reason why you can't just run a lot of EQ is because it's going to cut down on your estrogen, and you need the estrogen to convert GH to IGF-1. If any of this is confusing to you, you didn't watch any of the videos in the Most Important Shit playlist, go watch the Most Important Shit playlist immediately. Thank you. Great news. I am now partnered with Talon Wellness. Talon Wellness will be able to provide you your medication. So you get your consult with me. I will review the blood work you got through M&M Labs, and Talon will be the HRT clinic that will get you your medication delivered to your home. So there's nothing that changes on your part. All you do the same thing. You get the consult with me. Link is in the description box, and I take care of everything. It's just that now it is now a different HRT clinic, and the lab process is going to be even smoother. The prices will also be lower than they were with the previous HRT company. So this is all good for everyone. You'll love it. Click the link in the description box to set up your consult today, and on with the show.